You know that feeling, right? When you're just stuck in a holding pattern, waiting for something big, a job offer, a message back, some kind of resolution. That feeling of being suspended in time, it can be one of the most maddening things we go through. But what if there's a hidden cost to all that waiting? And maybe, just maybe, a hidden lesson too. Let's dive in.
So to really get to the heart of this feeling, we need the right word for it. There's a term that just perfectly captures the state of being on pause, and it's the key to unlocking the really powerful story we're about to explore.
And that word is abeyance. It's so much more than just waiting. It's that specific, frustrating limbo when something important is just hanging in the air. Think of a project at work that isn't canceled, but it's not moving forward either. You're just stuck. That's abeyance.
So, just for a second, think about it. When was the last time you were really stuck in abeyance? Try to remember that feeling, hold on to it, because it is right at the center of this incredibly powerful personal story.
Okay, so the story we're pulling from today is this deeply personal case study of what this kind of long, painful wait can do to someone, and wow, the surprising toll it can take.
So the conflict, on the surface, seems simple enough, but it runs deep. It's a huge loan between brothers. And, as the narrator puts it, it's been over a decade, with that debt just sitting there, this constant, unresolved thing hanging over their lives.
And this timeline, man, this really puts the sheer scale of the weight into perspective. We are not talking about a few months. This is more than 10 years of being in a financial and an emotional limbo. A full decade of this unresolved tension.
And here it is. This is the core of the frustration. On one side, you've got the simple promise. Yeah, I'll pay you back. But the reality? Years of silence, total inaction, and having to be the one to bring it up every single time. That huge gap between promise and reality, that's where all the resentment starts to build.
And this is the crucial point, right here. The issue stopped being about the money a long, long time ago. The true cost of this decade-long wait was measured in something way more valuable.
You see, that financial debt created a much deeper, much more damaging emotional one. A rift just started growing between the brothers, and it was fueled by this constant feeling of being disrespected, this simmering anger. It's such a powerful example of how one unresolved thing can slowly poison a relationship from the inside out.
And then, something happened that's almost hard to believe. The brother, who was already a decade in debt, actually had the nerve to ask for another loan? I mean, this is beyond disrespect. It's like he was living in a completely different reality.
And that was it. That was the final straw. The request wasn't just bold. For the narrator, it was the final confirmation that the relationship they thought they had was probably gone for good. The trust wasn't just damaged anymore. It was completely burned to the ground.
But, this story doesn't just end in anger and loss. What happens next is this really surprising and powerful turning point, not in the relationship, but inside the narrator's own head. So, instead of staying trapped in that cycle of frustration and anger, the narrator makes a conscious choice to completely change their perspective. And this is where the story pivots, moving away from just passively waiting to a kind of active acceptance.
And this right here, this is the heart of that mental shift. The narrator decides the money isn't a debt to be collected anymore. Instead, it's a payment for a very hard-earned and honestly a very valuable lesson about the relationship.
It's really important to see this wasn't about forgiveness or just forgetting what happened. No, it was a strategic move to reclaim his own peace of mind. By reframing the money as the price he paid for wisdom, the narrator finally took back control of his own story.
So what can all of us take away from this? Well, this whole personal story, which was born from a decade of total frustration, it ends up revealing this really profound lesson about the hidden purpose of waiting itself.
And this is the powerful idea that our source material leaves us with. That maybe these periods of abeyance, these frustrating, annoying pauses, maybe they're not just empty time that we have to suffer through. Maybe they're actually an opportunity to finally hear something we would have otherwise missed.
In that decade-long silence, the narrator learned the truth about his brother, and, more importantly, what he needed to do to finally find peace. So, think back to your own wait. What is that silence, that pause, trying to tell you?